You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, authorities investigate the cause of a fire that burned a former industrial complex in Lamar, Missouri.
Also, as vacationers head out to lakes and rivers, we have advice from experts on keeping you and your family safe on the waterways.
And due to the 4th of July, we also have rain chances in the area, so we're going to want to keep an eye on all of our storm chances today.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney, and it is 7 a.m. this Friday morning, 4th of July.
Yes.
Not only is it a holiday, but I feel like we're just blowing through the year. I mean, we're already
well over halfway.
Yeah. It's moving pretty quick.
It's moving very quickly, but you know, I feel like the 4th of July is a great way to kind of celebrate that halfway point. And for many people, buying fireworks is part of the Independence Day celebrations. And while that may be true, some local fireworks stands say it's more than that.
KOAM's Lonnie Walton checked out 2 stands whose owners say they would hope for the holiday would be a boom for fundraising.
We are back up and running.
Christy Harold operates a fireworks tent at Nevada Speedway. Early this week, the tent was a victim of a huge storm. Now she says things are back in order. She says that's good for local vets who will be working at the tent.
If you're sweating and working to build a new hall for our VFW here in Nevada. 50 to 50-some years old is the building that they're congregating in now and meeting in, and so we're a little too small. We're starting to outgrow it.
And she's not the only fireworks stand fighting to support her community. Travis Hurley from Water Gardens Ministries says all proceeds from his fireworks stand will help people get off the streets.
Coming out of addiction and recovery programs, they come into this Forge campus, and then they have an opportunity over the course of 16 to 18 months to kind of set a new trajectory for their life. By the time they graduate, they've got their own place to live, they're off of all government assistance, they're fully employed, they're self-insured.
Hurley says this program really works.
We had 212 folks that came into shelter unemployed that left with jobs.
Both Hurley and Harold want locals to have fun celebrating the holiday, but remember to put others first.
Typically bring in about $10,000 a year because the community supports that, and that helps to make sure that at least one guy gets through the program.
They gave so much, but yeah, they still keep giving. They still keep coming out here.
Reporting in the 4 states, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
The Nevada Speedway will also be selling $1 hot dogs today. All proceeds will go directly to local nonprofit organizations. I covered that Nevada Speedway fireworks stand earlier this week from that storm damage, so it's great to see them recover like that.
It definitely is. But, I mean, we have additional storm chances even today. Nothing is going to be like that Nevada storm, but we do have these isolated, we call them pulse storms, happen in the summertime. They're pretty common and non-severe and also very short-lived, so we're not seeing a big threat here, but it is going to drive up humidity. It is going to be disruptive, especially to the 4th of July festivities, so we want to keep an eye on that. Temperatures reach the upper 80s to low 90s today, and you can see current conditions. We're in the low 70s right now, so we got a ways to go, but it is a great start to our 4th of July. We've got clear skies, as you can see, out in 7th and Rangeline, a gorgeous sunrise. Overall, a great start to our 4th of July. Maybe a little bit of fog out there as well. Once we get through the next couple of hours, it will start to burn off, but until then, we've got less than half a mile visibility for Fort Scott, Chanute, Parsons, Welch, out in southeastern Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma. Now, that does dissipate rather quickly, and then we're off to the rest of the day in a just great early afternoon until we start to see those isolated thunderstorms start to pop up. So this is about 12:30. We've got a storm moving in from Bentonville into Pineville, all the way up to the Joplin area and to Carl Junction. So just some scattered thunderstorms, isolated thunderstorms. Again, short-lived, non-threatening. Those are going to continue to make their way. A couple more rounds moving through the Joplin area by about 4:30, but it all clears out by about 7:30, and then the rest of the afternoon is looking good, but we've got additional storm chances as we head into Saturday. I'll have those details coming up.
Lindsay, thanks. The Missouri State Fire Marshal's Office yesterday evening is investigating two unrelated incidents in southwest Missouri, a big industrial fire in Lamar and an explosion in Joplin. We start with the explosion that rocked a Joplin neighborhood yesterday afternoon and sent at least 2 people to the hospital. The blast tore through a shed in the backyard of a home in the 2500 block of South Virginia Avenue around 1:30 yesterday afternoon. Neighbors say the force shook windows up to 2 blocks away. 47-year-old Justin Rankin was rushed to the hospital where he later died due to his injuries. A juvenile female also sustained injuries and is currently listed in stable condition. Investigators from both the JPD and the State Fire Marshal's Office have been talking with neighbors, trying to gather information. State investigators are also looking into an overnight fire at the building of the former O'Sullivan Industrial Complex in Lamar, Missouri. KOAM's Anthony Saviello was there and reports on what's now considered a criminal investigation.
You can see smoke and flames still coming out of the structure behind me. What used to be known as the O'Sullivan building is now in ruins. Smoke billowing out hundreds of feet into the air and fire still consuming this structure. We spoke to City Administrator Rusty Rives, and he tells us more about the criminal investigation ongoing into the cause of this fire.
Currently, the Missouri State Fire Marshal's Office and the Lamar Police Department are investigating any criminal activity that may have taken place. My understanding is, as of this morning, they do have 2 individuals detained for questioning. I have not received an update on their status.
Now, this building has a lot of history to it, and many businesses and companies were actually using this building for storage and warehousing. Much of the material inside was fiberglass material, is what we have been told. Now, we actually spoke to a gentleman who works here at the warehouse, and he was here when the fire broke out, and he tells us what exactly was going through his mind at that point in time.
In that moment, I'm a dad. These are my guys, you know. I've been with them for forever, and you know, I didn't want anything to happen to them. So my first instinct, you know, I guess my dad instincts kicked in. I was making sure I wanted to protect anybody I could, even if that meant, you know, risking my life or anything, or, you know, I just wanted to make sure everyone was safe. And, you know, because like I said, you know, this can be rebuilt.
Now, as of right now, we have no real further updates into the investigation into this fire, but it is important to note that anyone who is coming through this area just needs to stay safe and stay cautious. This is still an active crime scene, and the structure is still burning. In Lamar, Missouri, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Law enforcement has not released any further information in regards to the criminal investigation. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. The Missouri Highway Patrol reports that a Wentzville, Missouri man drowned Wednesday evening at the Lake of the Ozarks. This is file footage of the lake. Troopers say the 70-year-old man fell overboard from his bass boat at the 8-mile mark of Workman Hollow Cove. They say a bystander pulled the man from the water, but authorities pronounced him dead at the scene. While next of kin have been notified, authorities have not publicly released the man's name. The Army Corps of Engineers and safety patrols predict packed lakes around the Ozarks and Arkansas through Sunday. Many of you will be heading to the water this holiday weekend, but there are things you can do to safely have fun. For starters, boaters should reduce their speeds and try to give other boats more room. Be sure you have a designated driver, and remember, everybody on the boat needs a properly fitting life jacket. Groups can also be proactive in staying safe by making an emergency plan that involves everyone on board.
Maybe even have a spotter on your boat letting you know where folks are. Table Rock, Beaver, Bull Shoals, all those lakes are going to be very packed. And they've all got high water right now too, so there is some debris floating around. So slow down even just a little bit more and watch out for that floating debris and watch out for each other.
A few other safety precautions: check the weather consistently while boating and make sure all lights work on your boat. Kansas is making some changes to its put down the phone law. One change is drivers under 18 are now completely prohibited from holding or using a mobile phone while driving. There are fines in place for violations, especially for infractions in construction zones. This fine is automatic. What remains unchanged under the law is all drivers are still banned from reading, writing, or sending text messages while the vehicle is in motion. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up, we'll see how President Trump's big, beautiful bill is impacting clean energy. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning. With a vote of 218 to 214, House Republicans on Thursday narrowly passed what President Donald Trump has hailed as his big, beautiful bill. While supporters are praising tax breaks and cuts to what they call wasteful spending, critics fear slashes to clean energy technologies will raise costs for many consumers. This while stalling the country's efforts to combat human-caused climate change. Fox News' Chris DeMio reports.
There could be no better birthday present for America than the phenomenal victory we achieved.
President Donald Trump praising Republicans in Congress for passing a massive tax and spending cuts package on Thursday. The president taking to the stage at a rally in Iowa to tout the tax breaks, new money for national defense and immigration, and more.
But this is a declaration of independence from a really national decline.
But what President Trump calls the big, beautiful bill is also expected to slash billions in spending across the clean energy sector, cutting tax credits for clean energy technologies like wind and solar.
So we won't see as many of those infrastructure projects being built in states that could really benefit from them. We will see several industries lose jobs. We're already seeing manufacturing plants that are closing, for example, that we're building new batteries.
The bill will also end a 30% tax credit for rooftop residential solar projects by the end of this year. These efforts once helped save homeowners money when purchasing expensive solar installations.
That significant upfront cost is obviously a huge barrier to most homeowners in the country. And so as a result, those federal tax incentives won't be available to them.
The bill also supports fossil fuel production, which climate activists say will worsen the impacts of human-caused climate change.
They're telling you what's going to happen in 100 years. The oceans are going to rise a quarter of an inch and everyone's going to be wiped out. No, you're going to have more oceanfront property.
President Trump has called clean energy tax credits a scam meant to use taxpayers' subsidies to help fund the agendas of climate activists. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
President Trump is expected to sign the bill into law today. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. We'll be right back.
Well, as we're heading into the 4th of July, we're going to have temperatures that are warming up to the upper 80s, but we also have random thunderstorm chances. Those are going to start right after 12 p.m., around 1 p.m., and then continue into early afternoon and mid-afternoon. It's going to drive our humidity up, which in return adds to our heat index. So our future feels like temperature, so our actual temperature is in the upper 80s, but our feels like temperature by 1:30 is in the low 90s. And then by the high temperature for the day, when we're about 89 degrees, it's going to feel like 95 in Baxter Springs, 94 in Fort Scott, 91 in Lamar, 93 in the Joplin area. And then as we get into the afternoon, that starts to drop back down into the 80s. Now you can see we have some clouds that are pushing into Oklahoma and be making their way into our area in just a bit. We also are expecting those thunderstorm chances, but they're non-severe because we've got our slight risk out in far western parts of Kansas and even in Oklahoma, but not in our area. So we get to enjoy the holiday without the threat of severe weather. Taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh, we've got these clear skies out there. Might still be a little foggy in some areas, especially back roads. And then we're seeing those rain chances over the next 24 hours. Spikes around 1 p.m. and again around 5 p.m. in the Joplin metro, but the rest of us still see isolated chances throughout the afternoon. More widespread rain as we get into Saturday, so we're going to have scattered thunderstorms in the morning. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s, and then those pop-up thunderstorms return back on Sunday. So let's look at our future track as we go through the afternoon. Again, we're seeing those isolated thunderstorm chances moving from the south and then moving north. So all of us may see a little chance of some isolated storms, but it's not widespread. So as you know, the Joplin area is getting some rain chances, Parsons going to be clear, or Pittsburgh's going to be clear. So they're going to be very isolated chances for the afternoon. Once we get into Saturday, that's where we're going to start to see more widespread rain chances. So those are going to be pushing in from the west. Strong thunderstorms, but not expecting severe weather. But we could see winds gusting ahead of this system 30 to 40 miles per hour. Again, that's below severe limits, but it's something that we're going to want to keep an eye on. And this is going to be a mid-morning around 10:30 to 11 a.m. on Saturday. And then by 12:30, we've got these scattered thunderstorms across southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and even starting to push into the Missouri side, into Carl Junction, Nevada area. Those are going to continue to push south of I-44 by about 3 to 3:30 p.m. and they weaken as we get down to south of I-44. Now the rest of Saturday is looking clear skies, so if you want to celebrate the 4th of July, continuing into Saturday, you'll get your chance in the afternoon to shoot some more fireworks off. Clouds return overnight, and then we have some random showers and thunderstorms through the early morning hours on Sunday, but back to partly cloudy skies for most of the day. Random storm or two, but overall it is going to be a pretty decent weekend minus those rain chances on Saturday. Now, random storms and pop-up storms do continue through midweek of this week and even returning next weekend with temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. Now, that's a look at your forecast. We'll be back after this. Way of ringing in the 4th of July, but these explosions of light and sound can cause a variety of issues.
That includes triggering mental health conditions for people with post-traumatic stress disorder, including veterans. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten takes a closer look at how service dogs are playing a vital role as former service members recover.
While fireworks can dazzle, they can also pose hazards for people and the environment. Their explosions can especially be troubling for people with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. It's a condition brought on after someone experiences or witnesses a traumatic event.
Things like sexual assault, combat, severe motor vehicle accident, natural disaster.
Symptoms vary but can include
hypervigilance, nightmares, alterations to cognition and mood.
Psychology experts say roughly 6% of adults in the United States have experienced PTSD at some point in their life, but it can be more common in veterans.
Everyone's experience of PTSD is a little bit different, but these triggers often include things like people, places, objects, sounds, sights.
And this time of year, the flashes and bangs from fireworks could trigger negative responses. Besides going to therapy, animal experts say service dogs can help provide comfort and relief.
Assistance dogs help veterans that are struggling with PTSD with their task training. These tasks may include things like blocking, so creating some space between veterans and other people in crowded spaces, interrupting to nightmares, so waking veterans up when they experience nightmares, or alerting to anxiety.
Meanwhile, when compared to veterans without service dogs, previous studies show
veterans with service dogs experience lower anxiety, lower PTSD symptomology, lower depression, greater participation in activities, and overall greater family and relational functioning.
Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
You know, I've been lucky enough to meet several veterans who use service dogs, and it's really an incredible partnership to be able to see firsthand.
Yes, it is. I mean, dogs in general are so empathetic and just help with a variety of issues, so it's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, it's great to see them be able to be a tool and be like, that is truly an intelligent creature.
Yes, it is.
Well, coming up, some area fireworks stands hope holiday business will light a fire under the spirit of giving.
And we'll have another look at your Friday forecast. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. I'm Samantha Walker. Happy 4th of July. Quapaw Child Care Development Fund is hosting a creation station for all Quapaw children on the powwow grounds. Each craft is designed to teach a little Native American heritage. One of the stations concerns planting crops they refer to as the Three Sisters: corn, beans, and squash. They also made sun catchers, Play-Doh crafts, and more. The activities are designed for togetherness.
We try to bring as much as we can into their Native American culture. The Three Sisters is really a major thing that we do. It talks about how the plants grow and how they affect each other. And so it's really important. And we've got some other things that they can do, the beading where the hair pipe beads and stuff like that. So it's just all neat ways for them to just not even realize that they're learning, but we kind of like to call it accidental learning.
The event is a part of the Quapaw Powwow happening this weekend. They say the early bird catches the worm, but at Byers Avenue United Methodist Church, the early bird baked up 400 fresh pies yesterday. Starting at 6 a.m., the church bakers whipped up cherry, pecan, sugar-free apple, lemon meringue, and more for their annual pie sale. You still have time to pre-order and pick up for pies on Saturday. Remember, it's more than just pie. It's a sweet way to give back to the community.
I think it's individual attention to each pie. There's nothing that is made out of a box or anything like that. We make the crust homemade, fillings homemade, and just years of experience in working together.
All proceeds support local nonprofits. While this year's recipient hasn't been selected yet, in the past the church has donated to organizations like One Joplin and Crosslines. Now here's Lindsay with a full look at your forecast.
Well, you can see our fireworks shooting off. The temperatures today, we're going to be in the upper 80s starting by noon, 86 degrees by 5 p.m., 89. But we also have thunderstorm chances that we're going to be seeing throughout the day today. Very isolated. We call them pulse storms. We get them in the summertime, short-lived, non-severe. But that's what we could be seeing for your 4th of July forecast. But current conditions, 71 degrees out in the Joplin area. You can see 7th and Range Line. We've got a gorgeous sunrise going on, clear skies, but we do have clouds pushing in from Oklahoma. You can see how they're starting to creep into our area. Some scattered showers, thunderstorms down in southern parts of Oklahoma, but we won't see anything until later on today. Now, we've got fog developing through the morning, especially Kansas and Oklahoma side, but really short-lived. We've got some areas dropping less than half a mile visibility, but it burns off really quickly in the next hour. And then as we head through this afternoon, 12:30 to 1 p.m., starting to see some isolated thunderstorms developing near Bentonville, up to Pineville, Anderson, and then moving into the Joplin metro by about 2 p.m. Now it quickly moves out of the area, moves into the Carl Junction area, up to Lamar and into Nevada, but we're not seeing very widespread chances. So as long as there's a thunderstorm going on in Joplin, Pittsburgh is clear. Out in Parsons, a little isolated thunderstorm, but Monette is clear. And then just north of Bentonville, another isolated thunderstorm. Now all these clear out by about 7:30 p.m. tonight to 8 p.m. tonight, but then we have additional rain chances. As you can see, storms moving in from Saturday out from the west. So mid-morning we could see some strong storms, but I'll have those details coming up.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. There is some movement on efforts to reach a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Hamas is reviewing what President Trump calls a final ceasefire proposal ahead of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's visit to the White House on Monday. But there could be a major sticking point. Fox News chief correspondent Trey Vince has the latest from Tel Aviv.
And to everybody all around the world, we have to look out for America and defending our homeland.
The Pentagon surprised Congress by halting weapons Monday needed by Ukraine at a crucial moment in its fight with Russia. U.S. military officials tracking the shipments confirmed to Fox. The complete list of halted U.S. munitions already at a distribution point overseen by the U.S. Army in Poland on the border with Ukraine includes 92 AIM Sidewinder missiles, 30 Patriot missiles, more than 8,000 155mm howitzer shells, 142 Hellfire missiles, 252 Gimlers or guided multiple launch rocket systems, a long-range precision-guided rocket artillery system, 25 Stinger missiles, 125 grenade launchers, Elbridge Colby, President Trump's new Pentagon policy chief, decided to halt the weapons to Ukraine as part of a global review. Colby has long advocated for shifting U.S. military resources from Europe and the Middle East to defend Taiwan.
What goes to Ukraine, regardless of its whether through presidential drawdown authority, foreign military financing, or another pathway, isn't available for Taiwan and may not be available again for quite some time due to industrial base constraints.
When Russia invaded Ukraine 2 years ago, the U.S. only produced 14,500 155mm ammunition shells a month. Ukraine fires about 5,000 rounds a day. The U.S. Army, realizing how quickly its stockpiles were being depleted, began ramping up production and is slated to produce 1 million shells next year. But Ukraine needs about twice that. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte was caught off guard by the U.S. reversal, especially withholding the Patriot interceptors that President Trump offered to President Zelensky last week at the NATO meeting.
I totally understand that the U.S. always has to make sure that their own interests are covered, but when it comes to Ukraine, in the short term, Ukraine cannot do without all the support it can get when it gets to ammunition and to air defense systems.
As President Trump left.
That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll hear the history of a few of your favorite iconic 4th of July foods. Means we've got Shannon Becker in the studio with us this morning for his 3 big stories of the week. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. I know you've been very busy the past few days. Some big stories happening in 4 states.
You know, it seemed like a little bit quiet for a moment and then everything all at once. Here it is, our big 3 stories, KOAM News Now. Over the weekend, now this was Saturday, what appears to be a horrible crash, obviously. It started because the driver over in southeast Kansas swerved to miss a turtle near West Mineral. Well, it's not recommended by not only Cherokee County Sheriff's deputies, but also by the Kansas Highway Patrol. That vehicle rolled into the cornfield there. A female driver and her 2 little dogs are okay, amazingly, yeah.
That's great.
And also they did tell me the turtle was all right as well.
Well,
I know, you know, you got to celebrate the small things, but that SUV, goodbye. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First. It was yesterday. It started about 1:30, developing story. An explosion was heard for blocks around an area near 26th and South Main Street. It was an explosion in a shed. We do know that 2 people were transported to a hospital. Both of them lived in the home. Male, late last night we learned, adult male, from Joplin, obviously, 47 years old, died of his injuries. He'd been transferred to Springfield. There's a teenager that was also injured of non-life-threatening injuries, is in a Springfield hospital as well. It's a story we'll continue to tell you more about. Last night late, I was there as the Springfield bomb squad arrived, and they were gathering more evidence and items from that area. Our number 1 story, a huge fire overnight. Wednesday into Thursday, the former O'Sullivan Industries burned. Now, from what I understand, about 1.5 million square feet. So it's comparable to 8 Walmart supercenters.
Oh, wow.
10 to 11 acres under one roof. I'm not sure if the entire structure burned, but the majority of it, obviously.
Yes.
I've never seen anything so massive. They do have 2 people detained. Have you heard anything on an update on that yet?
They're still going forward, you know. More details of that criminal investigation are expected.
All right.
But I know that's a story we are tracking and following, and we'll keep you updated as those updates become available.
I was just busy yesterday with other happenings, so I didn't necessarily get to update everything. So they are, of course, continuing that. You can read more, you can see more on our website, KOAM News Now. And then our bonus story of the week, it's the fireworks. Time for fireworks, right? We've got a lot of celebrations happening. In fact, a lot have happened already this week. So let's go down the list. Today, Bentonville, Carthage, Eureka Springs, Grand Lake, that's at Duck Creek, which is a huge one, biggest one in Oklahoma. Joplin, Miami will be at Buffalo Run. Monette, they've moved theirs to the 4th this year. Parsons, Kansas, and our favorite, Pittsburgh. They've got their big one today. Pryor, Oklahoma, Rogers, Arkansas, they've got the Symphony that's playing at the Amp. And of course, the big Joplin one, we've got a map on our website. You can find out more details. You don't want to miss it. It's at MSSC like they do every year.
And those are always so fun and iconic. And, not everybody, wants to set off fireworks themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like, I don't want to accidentally set myself on fire. Let's have somebody a little bit more trained, more experienced to
exactly.
it. I'll wave a sparkler.
Yeah, the sparklers are dangerous, though. I'll tell you that. Yeah. They're the most dangerous ones. She picked it, not me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Shannon. We'll be right back.
Well, taking a look at our forecast for this 4th of July, temperatures are reaching the upper 80s and we've got isolated thunderstorm chances. So we're going to be dodging thunderstorms today with that humidity that's added because of those storms. Our future feels like, so like we just are to actual temperatures in the upper 80s, but our future feels like by 1:30 it's going to feel like 93 degrees in the Joplin area, so low 90s for the rest of us, although we're dodging a few thunderstorms that keep us a bit cooler. The rest of us seeing the heat index rising to about 95 in Baxter Springs, Miami, Veneta, Girard up to 93 in Parsons and Pittsburgh, same in Joplin. So we're going to have pretty high temperatures, humidity, and we also are dodging those thunderstorms. So we got a lot going on today. Starting right now, we've got clear skies, a few clouds pushing in, but overall a great start to our morning. Taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh. Clear skies and that sunrise going through as well. So we're really kicking off the day fantastically. But our rain chances are going to spike right around 12 o'clock. So you can see how storms start to push in around 12 to 1 p.m. And then we've got these isolated chances all through the afternoon hours. And then as we head into the weekend, storms don't just stop today, but we've got more widespread scattered thunderstorm chances on Saturday with our high temperature, 88 degrees, and on Sunday, 89, with more of those pop-up thunderstorms that we're going to see today returning on Sunday. So taking a look at our future track. All right, so like I said, we're going to get these isolated thunderstorms. This is a bit of a longer range model, but it's still showing just random little thunderstorms popping up across the area. Now, with these, most of us are still going to be dealing with mostly sunny skies because as one area is getting some rain out maybe in the Pineville area, Cassville area, looking over at Pittsburgh, at Parsons, Chanute, sunny skies. So that's going to be mostly what's happening through the afternoon today. Shower over here, thunderstorms over here, and clear skies over in the other direction. So a lot of us could still enjoy the fireworks today. Now, as we head through Saturday, that's going to be where we see a more widespread chance for rain. Starts by 4 a.m. You can see some showers starting to push into the western counties, but more thunderstorms move in by mid-morning, 10:30 to 11 a.m. We even have a potential for some strong winds to be gusting ahead of that, up to 30, 40 miles per hour. That's below severe limits, but that is still pretty strong, so we want to keep an eye on that. By 12:30, scattered thunderstorm chances across the area, southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma along I-44, and then up to Nevada area, Fort Scott. But that's all pushes south of I-44 by about 3:30 to 4 p.m. And then we're back to clear skies for the rest of Saturday afternoon and evening. But clouds and pop-up showers and thunderstorms do return on Sunday and even into Monday as well. We've got more widespread rain returning Tuesday, random storms on Wednesday, but temperatures are going to be in the 90s for most of the week. That's a look at your forecast. We'll be right back.
Well, what's the 4th of July without freedom, fireworks, and frankfurters? Today is the biggest hot dog consumption day on the calendar.
So whether you boil them, microwave them, or toss them on a grill, Fox's Caroline Shively has more on this summer staple.
Sun's out, buns out, but don't forget the hot dogs. Millions of Americans will enjoy the tasty summer treat, whether at a baseball game or a backyard barbecue.
Americans eat about 7 billion hot dogs between Memorial Day and Labor Day. July 4th is the single biggest hot dog consumption day of the year. Americans eat about 150 million hot dogs on July 4th alone.
While everyone agrees the summer staple is delicious, there's a not-so-heated debate over the preferred preparation, with 75% saying on the grill is the way to go.
Certainly that aligns very well with July 4th plans. People love to get together around the grill and throw some hot dogs on there.
According to Eric Mittenthal, top dog at the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, mustard tops toppings, followed by ketchup and onions. And etiquette suggests always eating with your hands. Don't take more than 5 bites to finish a standard frank. And
We say that if you're over the age of 18, you should not put ketchup on a hot dog. That is a frank faux pas, but for those who are kids at heart, it's okay.
a 4th of July party without hot dogs is the worst. And as folks shop for the cookout, they may have noticed that hot dogs and buns are sold in different quantities. But frankly, there's a reason.
It's really just based on the way that each one is prepared and packaged. So for buns, they are typically cooked in tins that are 4 per tin. And so that's why you get 8 buns, 2 separate tins in a package. Hot dogs are packaged by the pound.
One of the biggest debates is a hot dog a sandwich. 57% say no.
A hot dog is not a sandwich. A hot dog is its own unique food item. And if it's on a bun, it's called a hot dog. If it's not on a bun, it's a hot dog. The bun's really irrelevant. It's just a hot dog.
There is one dog where you're allowed to use a knife and a fork. It's the chili dog. So messy, so delicious. It wouldn't be summer without it. In Alexandria, Virginia, I'm Caroline Shively, Fox News.
You know, it's so fun to see how hot dogs have become such a pop culture moment for 4th of July. I know we were talking, it reminds us of that Jennifer Coolidge moment from Legally Blonde 2.
What did she say? Ooh, makes me want a hot dog real bad. You know, Legally Blonde 2 has a lot of 4th of July references. I might go watch that today just in celebration.
You know, it's a very patriotic movie.
It is a very patriotic
if you're looking for a recommendation, that's, I think, one of our go-tos.
We're recommending it right now. You know what we're not recommending, though? The forecast, we've got isolated thunderstorm chances in the area most of the day. As you can see now, they're going to be very isolated, short-lived, non-severe thunderstorms, really emphasizing that non-severe because I know people are going to be out and about. And, you know, one area could be getting thunderstorms, the other area completely clear and sunny. So that's what we're going to be expecting today. Very hit and miss, but temperatures in the upper 80s. And then we actually have the heat index, because of that humidity, driving up to the low to even mid 90s by this afternoon. So that's what we've got for our forecast today. Hot, humid temperatures, and trying to dodge some thunderstorms today while we're out shooting off fireworks.
Yeah, definitely something to pay attention to today.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Missouri State Fire Marshal's office is investigating an explosion that rocked a Joplin neighborhood yesterday afternoon and sent at least 2 people to the hospital. The blast tore through a shed in the backyard of a home in the 2500 block of South Virginia Avenue around 1:30 yesterday afternoon. Neighbors say the force shook windows up to 2 blocks away. 47-year-old Justin Rankin was rushed to the hospital where he later died due to his injuries. A juvenile female also sustained injuries and is currently listed in stable condition. The Missouri Highway Patrol reports that a Wentzville, Missouri man drowned Wednesday evening at the Lake of the Ozarks. Troopers say the 70-year-old man fell overboard from his bass boat at the 8-mile mark of Workman Hollow Cove. They say a bystander pulled the man from the water, but authorities pronounced him dead at the scene. While next of kin have been notified, authorities have not publicly released the man's name. The Army Corps of Engineers and safety patrols predict packed lakes around the Ozarks and Arkansas through Sunday. And we have some safety tips before you head out on the water. Boaters should reduce their speeds and try to give other boats more room. Be sure you have a designated driver, and remember, everyone on the boat needs a properly fitting life jacket. Groups can also be proactive in staying safe by making an emergency plan that involves everyone on board. Officials say check the weather consistently while boating and make sure all lights are on boat work. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And a look at our forecast. We've got temperatures in the upper 80s. Now we're going to have random thunderstorms today, non-severe and very short-lived through the early afternoon to mid-afternoon hours. So shouldn't be a big disruption to fireworks going off later on tonight. And then we're also going to see more widespread thunderstorms through midday on Saturday that could affect some people out on the lakes or the rivers or, you know, wherever you want to enjoy your holiday weekend. And then as we get through the rest of the work week, we're going to have isolated random shower thunderstorm chances that are pretty consistent through next weekend.
Sounds great, Lindsay. Well, sometimes a day on the water just turns the tummy towards craving, and whatever floats your boat had to be Chick-fil-A.
Right.
These 5 ladies on a pleasure cruise near Destin, Florida, couldn't wait any longer, so they called for Chick-fil-A delivery. A local operation sent out their small watercraft delivery service, complete with a red Chick-fil-A flag flying in the back that says Chick-fil-A at Crab Island.
It's actually a third-party vendor servicing some local vendor needs, which happen to include Chick-fil-A delivery sandwiches for $10, not including the tip. Kate Williams, who shot this video, says it was the best $50 they ever spent. Wow.
That is commitment to a love of Chick-fil-A.
Well, you know what? And it just does sometimes when you crave a food and you're out on the lake and you're, enjoying being outdoors, the sunshine, and then you get that food, it really does just hit the spot.
Well, that sounds like a great plan. And, some people will be enjoying that 4th of July with that.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.